too, so there are a couple of other moving parts outside of that. So yeah, they remove away the Vi, and now it's about K'Sante and Nico, because Top Esports, I think, have come to the conclusion that Yagao is 7-0 on the pick. So, right, they've come to the conclusion that they are 7-0 on the pick. So, surely, it's... Okay, alright. Let's hold our breath, Machine. Let's hold our breath, right? It's not the worst first pick in the world. But what it does mean is that you're potentially giving Yagao Nico again to continue his win streak on. And with the Renekton gone, the K'Sante pick also just kind of naturally rises in priority. I feel like the idea, though, for Top Esports is they're likely just to lock in the Maokai plus X on their next rotation, as they've already got the Jace, and you want to try and set up for that poke and the objective control. BLG have been hovering over this Nico since the start of the countdown, so clearly very locked in to wanting that pick and just kind of giving an idea and talking amongst themselves about what they want to actually lock in. Looking further along against the draft, because this should just be K'Sante, I feel like, for Bin. Unless they need a priority jungler. Unless there's something that they want, like, okay, the Wukong does make a lot of sense, so Venn diagrams of death, and you kind of, I suppose, give over K'Sante to Wayward, but in the same breath, Bin has a plethora of champions that I'm sure he'd be willing to pick into it as well.
Oh, for sure. And this is the thing, is that when you're looking at the way Bin, or how Bin has been able to play so far this split, is that he's not really afraid of kind of anything. You know, again, he's going into plenty of different matchups and to try and kind of counter them out, if you will. So we'll see what ends up being the lock-in here. Again, I think that is a good pickup here from BLG, just to kind of say, look, we got our engage, we have our AoE team fighting. It's what's been the bread and butter for BLG so far this entire split. And for Top Esports, you kind of have to lock yourselves in. It depends as well. Like, Wayward, not exactly someone I imagine has like a lot to say about it. Yeah.
I was going to say, actually, I feel like Top Esports have had so much priority on Kai'Sa, though, that maybe they just forego the K'Sante all in all. And now it's kind of up to BLG and what they want to do with either the AD carry or the top lane pick, right? Because they allowed Elk's champion ball to be trimmed last time out, and he still landed on Aphelios. So I feel like the K'Sante is kind of a given. So that one will get locked in for Bin. They'll look to probably just ban away some picks that, you know, they feel like Wayward may give some uncomfortable, you know, laning scenarios to Bin in at best. Yeah, the Gwen makes a lot of sense, but even outside of the Gwen, like, maybe the Malphite, right? Like, I guess, if you think that it's just going to be there to kind of buff up the potential dive and turnaround from Top Esports, but even in saying that, I was going to say Rakan is another pick that they could look to ban away, but actually Top Esports take that away, so maybe they just look towards the Nautilus. That could be the next big ban for them. No, they just stay on those side laners for Wayward. That makes sense too. So again, I feel like BLG have all of the options here in this draft, and Top Esports still feel like they're on the back end a bit. They do have, however, functionally a pretty strong draft, right? 2 poke champions, a disengaged champion via Maokai, and of course he can re-engage. And it's about keeping BLG at bay and not allowing them to get on top of them. So Top Esports doing the right thing, removing away engaged supports and really limiting what On can actually use to really make backline dive and backline access a very easy and accessible thing for Shun, Yagao, and Bin. Yeah,
and look, the Aphelios kind of a no-brainer. It's just a standard one. It's like Lee Sins to junglers. Just feel like you kind of go for that whenever you want. So they're going to lock themselves in. The Rel, I will say, the Alistar is an exceptional pick into the Rel. It does have, I think, 100% win rate against in the LPL. Ooh, Top Esports going back towards that Poppy as well. So they've got a decent front line here. And if they're able to make this one work, I feel like their ease of execution on this particular comp is much, much better than it was in the first game.
Yeah, 100% agree with you. This is also likely Poppy top, by the way. This isn't Poppy jungle from Tian.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Absolutely.
They could 100% flex them between the two, right? Actually, Maokai top is in a surprisingly strong spot, but people just don't really play it. BLG should just land on this Aphelios again. No reason not to. So for BLG, it's more or less a very similar composition. A couple of more pick tools. Team fighting still very strong. Top Esports, I think, now a little more in line with one another. A lot of re-engage, a lot of defensive tools, and a lot of poke. So I feel like for them, that's kind of what it's more about, right? Picking their windows to go in, but more importantly, actually setting up around objectives and letting Maokai, Jace, and Kai'Sa do their thing. Very, very interesting direction they decided to go, and I'm very excited for this Poppy top, surprisingly. I know it might sound a bit strange, but it's actually one of the other tank counters that I think really does well into K'Sante, and I hope we get to see Wayward kind of demonstrate why it can be a very powerful pick. But that aside, Top Esports, I feel like giving themselves much better tools compared to game 1 in game number 2 to try and deal with BLG and the aggression they will no doubt try and lay forward.
Absolutely. And look, you got 2 poke champions for the side of top esports. If you land some of those accelerated shock blasts, some of those void seekers, you are going to start whittling down these health bars. And it's going to be a little bit more on BLG to be aggressive, to look to try and find those engages. I'm not saying they can't do it, because Lord knows we know they can, but it's going to be a little bit more proactive on their side, as top esports have a hell of a lot of ways to disengage. I think of the knockback with the hammer, the nature's grasp as well, Poppy in general. There's so many ways to kind of deal with the oncoming onslaught that would be BLG's composition. But if it works, it will work exceptional. We talk about Venn diagrams of death. This is the 3 circles of hell coming out from the Cyclone, the Pop Blossom, and of course the Magnet Storm of BLG's comp. We'll see what top esports can do, if they can bring us to a 3rd game, or if BLG will solidify themselves and JDG into that top 2 position and almost make it impossible for anybody else to reach them. We're going into game number 2. We'll see if top esports is going to have a little bit of a say in this one here. Considering how BLG went in the first one, I still favor BLG.
Yeah. Do you think that, don't you? Listen to those gyros.
Oh, wow.
I think I know who the crowd wants to win.
Damn. I'm not even going to lie. Like, it's kind of incredible the amount of support BLG have kind of garnered for themselves over the last while, because it does feel like it's just like, it was kind of like a mid-table team. Nobody was really that bothered by them or that involved
Excited.
with them, I suppose. Yeah. And now it's just like, obviously MSI, you've had their run in terms of the personalities they've got on their team as well, with Bin and Elk has some fantastic interviews. It does feel like they've just built up this massive fan base. I also love when we get Bin on the English stream. I really hope if they win, we get Bin on an English interview again, because I love his little tidbits of English that he gets to throw out to us. It's so fun.
Yeah, first point, I love when players from the East try and connect with the Western fans. I feel like there's historically been a bit of disconnect from the players themselves and the Western side of the audience, just because it is a bit difficult. I have to hold this point because BLG are invading, and I think they've also found Tian. Oh, this is a disastrous start.
Oh, it is, but it's going to be a 4v5 right now. You can see a flash for flash. Sean has to walk away from this one here. He's getting chased down by JackeyLove, who flashes in and should be able to pick that one up. That is first blood going over to top esports, and a good call there from top to make sure that BLG just don't have their way straight away from level 1.
Yeah, not only that, a fair amount of the chicken camp is still there. Tian's able to start on the Wolves. I'm not sure he's going to be able to do his entire top side, but we'll see how well he can kite it out. He is extremely low, but he will heal up from eating the camp. Interesting invade from BLG. Gets caught out by top esports, and the first blood also went over to JackeyLove, but Flash was blown by him. We'll see if BLG can try and abuse that fact, because Rel certainly can prey on Flash's targets inside of the lane, but with Mark being there, like you mentioned, it's a really, really, really good matchup. One-to-one, but specifically inside of the lane is where you really see it shine.
And I love that we saw that coming out from top esports. They kind of said, look, we can't really contest in a 3v3 and a 4v4 against the Ashe and the Rel, but you know what we can do? We can overload it. We can get the Poppy in and see, kind of getting that movement there, knowing the TP was available, which means Bin wasn't available, but have a little bit of a movement here in the bot side. Elk should be able to keep himself relatively safe. And a little stat on the side thing, 5,000 games in the LPL for Rookie now. Congratulations to him, and he would love to mark that massive milestone here in the LPL with a win and to keep this series alive.
Oisin, I've got some bad news for you, because I know how many games Rookie has, and it's not 5,000. So
what was the 5,000 then?
I don't know. So I'm going to put out an SOS to a Mandarin
5,000
or a
assists,
reader.
5,000 kills?
Well, he doesn't have an assist, and he doesn't have a kill.
Yeah, so what was that 5,000?
So anybody who could understand what that stat pop-up was,
I'm going to ask our producer. I'm going to ask our
or
producer.
maybe if we could get confirmation from our producer.
Because it seemed like, I was looking at it, I thought it was 5,000 kills first, or assists, and I was like, well, nothing popped up.
For clarity,
so I was just
Rookie's at around 830.
You telling me he hasn't played 1,000 games a year?
No, unfortunately, he hasn't. Unfortunately,
the more I think about me saying that phrase, the more of 5,000 games, the more I'm like, Oisin, you're a dope. You're a fool, Oisin. You shouldn't be saying 5,000 games.
I mean, honestly,
you know
the schedule probably makes
true.
you feel like you're playing 1,000 games. To be fair,
it does. I'm gonna ask right now.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I'll figure it out. But look, regardless of whatever it was, maybe it was kills, maybe it was assists, maybe it was deaths. Sometimes the LPL likes to throw that in. They do like to throw in random stats. As Mark, X flashing towards this mid lane, we are going to see Yagao possibly look for his own flash, and he will, because Rookie flashing on top of him. So flash for flash in that mid lane. We are seeing Wayward going toe-to-toe now against Bin, who might have the Q3 in a second, but not quite up in time to make this one move work. There's a bit of a trade back here, and this is the thing why the Poppy is so good into the Cassante is because when you look for those short trades, when she does have the buckle to try and get that extra shielding on, it makes those trades very favorable for the Poppy.
It's not just the buckle, it's actually both sides of the Pathmaker, because if Cassante, the dash itself can be interrupted, but whilst he's obviously casting the Pathmaker, the W that is, he is unstoppable. So the Steadfast Presence is actually an ability which is very easy to then, you know, block out that spell so you don't get stunned. I think in the all-out, you sometimes still eat the damage, but you certainly do ground him again, and that's obviously damage put back in return. So Poppy, definitely a very strong champion. You can trade pretty efficiently as well. I'm kind of curious about what Wayward's going to go towards, or it's going to be the Iceborne first. Seems like that's going to be the case. And Wayward doing a fairly okay enough job right now at just kind of keeping Bin down, or at the very least keeping mildly relevant. He's down 10 CS, but he's saving his teleport potentially for a play as Top Esports. Oh no, his teleport's already gone, so he's already blown that to take that back. But Top Esports on this dragon. BLG are kind of in the area, but not really enough to contest. It feels like Shun's a bit too far away.
Yeah, they'll get the dragon, but can they get the eggs? That's the question. Elk gonna flash away from Mark as they jump straight onto Rookie. Rookie, no flash, has phase rush to try and maybe get himself away. They're kind of being coerced right now.
This is awkward.
One more volley would be decent. They're gonna try and get the damage down maybe on the JackeyLove, who also doesn't have himself a flash available. 3-man knockup, but it's on the 3 tanky members. They try to fully commit on top of this one here. Rookie gets stunned up. Yagao is still very, very low and will be taken out. Can they kill off JackeyLove? The crash down is huge, but can they confirm these kills? Yes, they can. Get 2-for-1 trade. And at the end of it all, BLG knew how strong they could be, and this wave is massive. JackeyLove's going to lose so much off this.
Yeah, JackeyLove is going to lose so much off this. He has got 2 kills, right, so it makes up for it a little bit, but still, Elk's going to pick up plates. Oh, Tian.
Tian. Crash down, secure the kill, nicely onto Shun. And that's going to be even more gold over to BLG. And yes, you get the dragon here for Top Esports, but a 3-for-1 trade is not ideal.
Yeah, this whole sequence from Top Esports was just a little bit awkward. Rookie went in right outside of the pit and kind of just doomed himself to be slow run down there by BLG. The re-engage from BLG, however, was excellent. Top Esports really did overestimate how much burst damage they had available to them in the AoE, and it ends up costing them their lives, as Wayward won't get knocked back. And the trade has pretty been favored, has the Sheen, of course, so those shorter trades feel a lot better. And we're going to go into the replay. So Top Esports, you see this from the BLG Fog of War. So Shun is making his way down, and they kind of acknowledge the dragon is gone. And then Rookie goes in here, and he kind of just gets himself chunked out really heavily for not much reason, to be entirely honest with you. But then Mark and Tian kind of see an angle for a re-engage. It's more about Mark, right? Mark is the one that starts it up, because they do kind of group up. It's a 3-man knock-up. Tian gets in the mix-up, but JackeyLove and Rookie, who's rooted, can't really add much immediately. So Yagao is almost able to walk out, and then this re-engage here from On is just superb. And there's no way you can answer a 3-man crash down like that, and Elk lived the lethal tempo and the stacking up of the Rangers' focus. Even early on, Ash can deal so much extra damage. And just kind of assists BLG in walking over to Top Esports in that exchange.
An important thing here as well is that despite all this, JackeyLove got 2 kills, and JackeyLove has about a 20 CS lead as well, so he's already got himself a static shift. It's going to be very difficult for BLG to really make that one work again with a massive wave stack, because you just have insane wave clear now on the side of the Kaisa, so good to see BLG looking to try and make that one work as early as they possibly could. They will not have flash on Elk for a while. They're waiting to kind of see. I've also recognized as well, you have double clones here for BLG. So Top Esports are going to have such a difficult time of just recognizing who is real, who is not. Is that the Nico? Is that Yagao? Is that the clone on the Wukong? We do not know. So little things like that can kind of go a little bit skewy, shall we say. As JackeyLove now pushing in this bot side. The Rift Herald did go over in the favor of BLG. And already we have 1,000 gold lead for BLG despite the early start going in favor of Top Esports.
Yep, exactly. That invade should have really set the pace for Top Esports. Tian didn't even have to base off the back of that, like, invade. He was able to just go over to the Wolf Camp, still full clear the top side, whilst Shun was killed. It hasn't really mattered. Shun's got the Herald. Sure, they lost out on the Dragon, but it's about the gold that BLG can potentially actually pick up off some of these objectives. So let's see where they can actually look. There's been a whole bunch of plates chunked out on the bottom side, so you just anticipate they're going to go down there already and look for it. Magnus
Storm available for On, thinking maybe if he got the crash down onto the Alistair, he would have had much better time of making that one work. The hawk shot makes it so easy to catch out where Tian is going to be. And this is the thing. With good teams, with Ashe, it just feels so hard to make any kind of proactive play here as top esports, because having that information is just so perfect to make sure, yep, we're going to go bot. Cool, you're hovering down bot side. We'll play a bit more defensively. We'll put down a ward. These little things that could just help you out. And then again, look, Bin, he's just kind of saying, okay, let's go a bit more aggressive. Let's try and make this wave push happen for ourselves so that I know that I can get, you know, kind of reset off of this wave or maybe the next.
Yeah, exactly. Everything feels really, really comfortable for him up there. Just as a whole, the systems are working well. So, BLG have 40 seconds until this dragon spawns. I imagine they don't want to give top esports this one. So Yagao's probably going to shove this in, look for a reset. He's got teleport. He might not even need it, to be fair. We'll see. But he's sitting on a lot of gold. Look at his... Look, he's got a bit of everything, hasn't he? Got a tome, dark silt. It's making the noise. It's making the helicopter noise again. Machine, make it stop. Like, I can't. But, it's going to be a fairly big back for him. Oh, and up. Maybe he sells a biscuit. No, Sork boots. So, still, a lot of extra burst available. Bin doing the same thing. Bin hasn't taken plates? Or is that 3 or a 5? My eyes are bad.
That's a 3.
I think it's 3.
It's
so,
a 3.
he might even have... Yeah, he's got Iceborne Gauntlet. That's what... Anyway, that's what I was eyeing up. He will teleport back up here, but Wayward also doesn't have TP. So, top laners may not be involved in the dragon at all. We will have to see. But BLG definitely set up for this.
Yeah, I was just about to say, talk me through how both these teams want to approach it, because it looks like at the moment BLG are kind of saying, yeah, we're happy to try and take this one away, and top esports are backing away just a little bit.
Yeah, they are. Top, I mean, they have Tian on the top side, right? So, it doesn't really signal the most confident, yeah, I want to contest dragon in the world. Vision is a little bit back and forth. No one's really secured a stronghold around this river or the dragon, but as top esports kind of approach through the mid lane, they could potentially get a sweep going. Markers on the bottom side with JackeyLove, but again, BLG, you know, the vision is a little bit too shallow for top esports and they're not willing to commit into this fog of war. And you can't really blame them again. You know, Rookie wants 2 items. Once JackeyLove also hits 2, the poke becomes quite oppressive, and actually diving in, he will deal a lot of extra burst damage. So I feel like that's where top esports are looking. So the fact that they picked out that first dragon just kind of gives them a little bit more time. But of course, if BLG overstep like this, On could potentially be picked off quite easily.
Nice cleanse by JackeyLove to come right back on top of On, who is still low. Flash has to be committed. It's a 1-for-none trade, but the dragon did go over in favor of BLG, so not the worst of setups. And again, you have to use so many summoners to make it happen. Still good for top esports to get JackeyLove rolling on this pick.
Yep, JackeyLove 3-1 now. Static Shiv, Blasting Wand. I mean, he's been kind of the benefactor of a lot of the plays that have ended up happening in front of him. So see where he can take this lead, because certainly Kaisers we've seen take over games time and time again so far over the last couple of weeks. Priority Rising has definitely shown us why via the gameplay.
Wait to see what they want to try and do here. Looks like Rookie's going to be the target. Pop Blossom not going to bring you out of range, and that means you have wasted your flash. As many people descend upon you, they're going to even drop down this Rift Herald into mid lane. There's only Mark here. Eventually, the rest of top esports will make their way, but you would like to get this little bit of a movement here onto the Yagao, but unfortunately for him, wasn't able to get it in position. So sadly, well, not sadly, but definitely not the priority of money going over to Shun.
Hey, I mean, look, I've seen Wukong's 1v9 very recently.
Yeah, Kanavi MSI as well. That's true.
Did you just see? Did you see what happened between Bin and Wayward there? That was really awkward. Bin W'd Wayward off the blast cone and he took it for himself. But like, it looked like they both should have got over. That was quite cute, but yeah, definitely right. Shun, with the gold that he's earned for himself and didn't need to give over to Yagao, has picked up the Divine Sunderer. So this one item spike for Wukong, really powerful, has been for a really long time. And we'll see whether or not he can find access onto JackeyLove, right? The backline access, a little more limited for BLG, right? I feel like they are, much like game number 1, waiting for top esports to engage onto them and then, you know, using their tools appropriately to just kind of kill off whoever's in front of them, whoever gets CC'd first. Bin just doing a good job of proccing. Here's Demolish. All of the spells.
4 plates.
Whittle away. Yeah, I mean, it's 4 plates now. Really, really strong Cassante. He will be once he starts to approach some of the skirmishes.
4 plates, 20 CS, Bin kind of owning this top side right now, and it does come from the little bit of just kind of have a little bit of a moment for it, but JackeyLove still leading the gold. being quickly chased, very quickly
God.
chased. It's
He's
one gold.
one gold
One
behind
gold.
him.
Oh, you know what? It's like Formula One. Sometimes it's a thousandth of a second that separates you from second and first in pole position. But that is a... We'll see if they want to try and work for something at the moment. There is a Rift Herald on the Rift. Should be there for quite a while, to be perfectly honest. So with the priority now on top side, you can see Top Esports trying to whittle their way into this vision control that the side of BLG have garnered for themselves. But with Bin having such control, and honestly, it's actually weird. Shun is the one that's on the bot side, so...
So,
actually, no, it's not. It's Nico. I'm an idiot. I'm an
it's
idiot.
Nico. Yeah,
I'm an
okay,
idiot.
it's right. We all get one. We all get one. It's fine. We all get one.
I looked at the mini-map. It's like I couldn't see the nameplates. I looked at the mini-map.
Man, that's really weird. Why is Wukong doing the Herald
like, what
and
the
the bot
hell?
lane at the
That's so
same
weird.
time? How's that happen? Yeah.
God,
So,
I will get the flame. But TP going to be committed from Rookie. No, both these
This-
sides looking to try and contest this.
This ward at the blue buff that's not being picked up by that control ward is really huge for BLG, because once Top Esports kind of step almost all into the leash range of the Herald, Yagao will just pull the trigger. As soon as they all do it, Yagao's going to pull the trigger.
Coming.
3, 2, 1.
Here it
there you go.
is. Yep, exactly what you called. They're going to try and separate this fight. Rookie has to back himself away. JackeyLove will get out of the Pop Blossom, but it's still a 3-man knockup.
Oh.
Yagao has just said, where was Shun? Shun wasn't even close to this. I'm not quite sure what happened. Right through the sticks is the Enchanted Crystal Arrow, but look how big Bin is. They can still take this 4v5 now to 4v4. Wayward and JackeyLove doing damage. The Magnet Storm brings around everybody. Rookie has gone down. It's a trade, though. Cleansed by L because he flashes away as well. Mark goes down to 2v3, but JackeyLove's just free hitting. Does he have the damage? Flash in, knock up. Casante has made his presence known. Wayward still very, very healthy, but BLG not willing to kind of let him have his way. They're going to move everyone towards this mid lane and take this turret.
Yeah, not only the turret, I think they'll probably look for a reset instead, but the dragon now spawns in 10 seconds. This contest took so long from both sides that the third dragon is now up and available, so resets are coming quickly. And you're right, Yagao is ready for this flank, but Shun, I did kind of feel like Shun was a whiles away initially. Oh, that's why he got caught by the poppy arc. That makes sense. Feels quite bad, but Wayward does a good job and also locks down Yagao. I missed that in live. Should know what that is, but flash away from the arrow, like you said, between the sticks. And at this point, BLG kind of have the ability to just kind of hold ground, but they go forward onto Tian. And then it kind of allows Mark and Rookie here to kind of find backline access as it starts to just turn into a blender. No one can get on top of Elk, and then, unfortunately, for Top Esports, that is, Bin finally presses his R key. Flashes on top of JackeyLove, and it's a little bit too much to deal with.
No flash for JackeyLove in the last play. Has it now, though, as we do see a trade back as we go back to live. It is going to be a second dragon here for BLG on this Infernal Rift versus the Rift Herald, which will be secured by Top Esports. So after the fight, shake of hands, come back in. But I haven't looked at the gold in a while because I was thinking, oh, it's fairly even. It's not. It's a 4,000 gold lead here for BLG, and it's not dissimilar to what we see. No cleanse. Oh, that punt back was massive. Oh, my lord, Mark. That was huge for you to be able to save your 80 carry.
Yeah, there's two kinds of Mark, and that one was the good one.
Fighting inside you. Inside you, there are two marks. We're not quite sure how they got there, but there are two marks inside you.
Yeah, exactly. So, good job. Keeps JackeyLove alive. He does still have to blow his flash, but at the end of the day, I think keeping himself alive whilst using the flash definitely far better than dying with it. So, BLG, like you mentioned, with that gold lead, we need to really start to see item completions come through before that gold lead is a proper one. Because for now, Top Esports technically have a couple more items completed. There are a couple of cheaper items available to members like Tian who have gotten the Evan Shroud, so there are things like that which kind of offset it to a point. But BLG need to start to take control of the map a little bit. Yagao has to be sat on so much gold, by the way, because he's still not one item. He's based, it's only a pro belt on a
not that much
so
gold
perhaps
at the
he's
end of
actually
it.
not as wealthy as...
Oh, there we go. You know what?
Ruby
The
Crystal.
There
Yeah,
we go.
all right. Yeah, there you go. So, not too bad, but the big money haver in this BLG composition right now is Bin, for sure, right? 2 items already, has the stone plate alongside that Iceborne, and it looks like Elk is going towards the Infinity Edge. Very, very classy build. We haven't seen that in a long, long time. Seen a lot more Triforce Ash recently. But yeah, very interesting to see the full crit Ash come out in this game here. And we'll see how much damage he's actually able to deal. Definitely looking like towards things like the Poppy, right? Going full tank. Poppy is also an obnoxiously tanky champion just by base stats alone. So Curious to see how he's going to be able to cut through those members, but we definitely know that the surrounding BLG composition will do that for him as well.
Well, 30 seconds till Baron is on the Rift. I don't think anyone's going to go off spawn. However, if you lose 1 or 2 people, you can take it off spawn. I do think, in my opinion, the Baron buff needs a much bigger buff in terms of its own actual stats and how to take it, because it feels like right now you can 2-mana if you get enough time.
I was like, what do you mean it needs a bigger buff? Like it needs,
as in
it
itself. The Baron,
yes,
the Baron itself needs a buff. Like it's a bit too weak in my opinion. And surely will get denied here. There's a TP coming in here from Yagao off to the side. Don't know if they'll spot him out just yet. They will see him off now to the left. He knows there's a ward on top of him, so he's not going to be able to make that one work. They thought about going for an engage. No real objective on the map, though. Everyone finds themselves in mid lane. We've screwed the side lanes. It's now an A-Ram.
We're in an A. That's what's going on right now.
And an A-Ram.
An A-Ram. Wayward. That's a lot more damage than he wants.
Here we go. Yagao going to use a pop blossom defensively, but turns back right at the end. The Magnet Storm. They're all being shredded. Tian will not be able to get himself out of the well. Just about keeps himself alive. But this is just disaster for top esports. For BLG. Definitively better in every sense of this series. They are smashing top esports.
They are entirely. And I don't know, top esports, they kind of just stood there and let it happen. They allowed Wayward, well, I say allowed Wayward. Wayward got caught out and then it just turns into this massive mosh pit again. BLG are going to get Baron off this. This is huge for snowballing this game. And like you said, just better. They're staring at each other. And unfortunately, top esports are the first ones to blink.
Look at the amount of damage Wayward takes, though. Like, he's already about a quarter, that's fine. But then the knockback brings him down to about, 20% HP.
He steps forward for the buckler. For the buckler!
Yeah.
All things. The re-engage here from Mark is okay at best, but the problem is Yagao still has his R-key. And, you said 3 circles of hell. I think the 3rd circle's gluttony. And top esports definitely did greed to try and get on top of Yagao. And there just wasn't a reason for it, and they just had to look for a disengage. Just accept that Wayward was probably going to be dead. Unfortunately, again, they go for the hand instead of just taking the finger. They get a punch in the face. Arrow does connect onto Mark, but he's a very tanky member. And BLG just want control of this area.
Yeah, you're not going to be able to contest with this Dragon in 30 seconds. Tian's lost the Nature's Grasp. There's no real flashes available for anybody, so you can't walk forward. Baron is going to give you priority over mid. And but Wayward's in the top side trying to get some pressure on the turret, but it won't even crash that really successfully. Now Bin going all out on the Tian. Kind of feeling that he can go for this one here. Nice little juke back, but Tian has to flash because he can, and that's just exactly it. Mark now found himself a little bit isolated underneath the turret. Will get to walk away from this one here. Shun going in. They will get the ultimate now out of the Alistair. But I mean, this is just BLG being on another level. The LPL hasn't seen the like for so long. Feels like the last time we had this kind of domination between 2 teams, it was JDG and top esports. As we see now, Yagao forced to flash away on now. Cop between a rock and a hard place. He is going to have to try and isolate himself, but JackeyLove hasn't finished off the kill just yet. TP coming in here from Bin, as Bin wants to get a little bit more. They stop his dash with a steadfast presence, but it forces JackeyLove flash out. Look at these low health bars. BLG are unafraid. Oh my god!
This is
the Rangers' focus.
Yep.
Just doing so much right between the sticks. That's 3 points there. If you follow Rugby, as L gets himself a kill off the back end of it, the flash forward. Wayward trying to just walk away from this one here. Mark with no ultimate will be turned into hamburgers. It's a double kill. This fight hasn't stopped, and the reason why it hasn't stopped is because BLG know they are just better. They are just stronger, and they are going to make sure top esports know who they are fighting against, who they are looking up to, because you are below us in the standings, and that's where you'll stay.
Absolutely, BLG looking to close this series out 2-0. They don't want top esports to make this a 3-game series. They'll take the inhibitor, look for a reset, go and get the dragon, and they will keep them at arm's length. This was a 6-point game for both of these teams. If top esports could get that 10th win, make BLG fall down to 11-2, then maybe there's a chance they can catch up. But now, top esports at the cusp of, remember, after today's series, they play OMG. They could get leapfrogged by OMG. It's not impossible. As Engage comes in here with JackeyLove. I don't think the Q actually went on to Yagao. Oh, that's why he dealt no damage. I think the Q all went onto the clone. A little bit unlucky there from his part. But yeah, good disengage initially, but BLG just kind of keep the party going, but it's also Top Esports teasing it, right? Elk playing at arm's length, and Bin kind of keeps Rookie locked in place. Then the slows continue again from this Ashe. Very, very, very powerful CC tool at just the rundown. And even if BLG don't necessarily have the best hard engage in the world, doesn't matter if Top Esports keep on kind of running into you and playing at range.
But that's it. Like, it feels like with Top Esports, you lost your ultimates. You lost. Oh, JackeyLove. Oh, JackeyLove. You're probably dead here. Yes.
Ooh.
Maybe not, actually, as the rest of his team is here. But you've now had to commit 4 members and 2 ultimates just to keep JackeyLove alive. Here's a TP coming in. That's going to be Yagao, already finding himself now a little bit of an opportunity. JackeyLove has nowhere to go, and he gets crashed down upon him. On says hello. Double Pop Blossom to try and get some kind of a fight. It's a little bit separated, though. On trying to make sure that Mark can get killed off by Elk before anything else can happen. Here comes the Gigabin, though, and the rest of Top Esports know this is over. This series is done. BLG are better. There's nothing to be done. They got to look towards playoffs with a little bit more of a game plan, because today BLG just had them routed.
Yep. Routed, demolished, wrecked, to quote the old saying. And Top Esports,
Classic esports saying.
It is. Top Esports just haven't, all series long, they've just not had an answer, have they? I like the flavor of where they tried to go with this draft, but it feels like it's just the gameplay department which is lacking more than anything. BLG just more decisive, more on the button. And it's been that story for the last 50 or so minutes of gameplay. Superseding game 2 into game 1. So what do BLG do? I think they just sit here, let Top Esports kind of hit their forehead into a wall. And then once the opportunity presents itself to end the game, they do. Look, I've been saying with Mazel, right? Sorry to keep on cutting you, that, you know, he's the glass half full guy, I'm the glass half empty. I don't think Top Esports. Yeah. There's no, like, I wouldn't even begin to have the conversation here. It just doesn't really feel feasible unless BLG start having a lot of fun.
But even then, like, BLG are, we talked about it so often, that like they're a team that just love to fight. They are like they embody the LPL spirit, in my opinion, because it does feel like 22 kills in 26 or maybe 27 minutes is unheard of in most regions. For the longest time, we weren't getting kills. It was kind of a one team fight, and then we'll see what happens after that. At 20 minutes, you might just lose the game. Speaking of losing the game, again, great little between the sticks here from the Ashe Arrows. And that's the funny thing. The amount of things that are missing from BLG, and it just does not matter. We are going to see the Keeper's Verdict knock back Elk. He's not really there, so the constant DPS isn't there. But the all-out comes in to try and isolate Wayward. And yeah, Wayward has a flash, but does he get out alive? That is the question. They're going to have to try and commit Mark here to try and make sure he doesn't go down. They will lose him anyway. The Pop Blossom tries to get on top of the rest of the team, but I mean, this game is done and dusted. Even without Elk, 4v5 for the majority of that fight. BLG smashed Top Esports. They are just so dominant. And BLG continuing themselves to put themselves up to 12-1. They're still very affirmed to be a top 2 team. It would take a miracle for them and JDG not to be our top 2, but what a way to do it.
This was match of the week, but BLG were the strong ones. They topple Top Esports like it's nothing. And they will secure themselves, not mathematically, but realistically, in that top 2 position. Top Esports were the
mathematically.
Everything but mathematically. Top Esports were the front runners to maybe close this gap out, to potentially make a top 2 race quite competitive. Now at this point, it seems like it will just be JDG and BLG battling it out for that first place position. Great stuff from BLG, and again, just continuing to show us why they are one of our best teams here. And again, continue to not really give in to, you know, things